Good evening and welcome to Embassy Media on the occasion of International Women's Day. My guest speaker tonight is Ms. Miridu Thanki. Ms. Miridu Thanki has long-standing experience of working in public sector in the United Kingdom, covering social development research, training, education, together with work in the field of equality, principally gender, race, and disability. Her particular strengths are in the areas of participatory planning and working with community. She has done extensive work in the NGO sector, setting up organizations, running schools, and managing community centers. She has worked as a consultant in various parts of the world, including Eritrea, Bangladesh, Ukraine, and Latvia. So today we're here to discuss International Women's Day under the theme Eritrean Woman, Pillar of Resilience and Development. Ms. Miridu, thank you for having you here on Embassy Media. It's an honor to have you on the occasion of International Women's Day. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. I'm really myself honored, much more.
Fantastic. I mean, what is your, or let me start, please tell me your experience of Eritrea and when did you visit Eritrea? How was it? Can you share your experience during your visit in Eritrea?
Yeah, even before I visited Eritrea, I had always admired the country because it stood up to corporations and also the other governments who were trying to pressurize them into uh, taking the resources from them. And I liked the way Eritrea actually stood its ground and made decisions on the basis of what was important and of their interest. So that was really quite difficult to all the other countries who had actually given in to the Western powers, if you like. So for me, that was very important thing in terms of seeing a country who is still doing well despite the West shunning it. I went there in 2011. Hamade had invited me. In fact, my friend Miriam, she suggested, Miriam is from Eritrea, and she said to me, well, why don't you visit Eritrea and then you could do some work for Hamade because she knew my background. So I ended up in Eritrea in 2011 and worked for Hamade for 3 months. And if you like, I can start from my experience in Hamade.
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah. So Hamade basically wanted to raise the profile of women in Eritrea in general,
Yes.
and specifically in the public sector. They wanted to women to fully participate in the social development as well as political development of the country. And what I found through what the research I did when I was there, that I found that Eritrean women had participated fully in the independence movement. In fact, 33% of the women had actually fought on the front line in the freedom movement. And as time went by, their numbers seemed to have dropped within the political as well as public sector jobs. So they were working, but not necessarily at the higher level. And Hamade was very concerned about that. So they wanted to see how this could change. And after doing my research and having had meetings with different people within Hamade and outside Hamade, and in with people within the different ministries, we decided that we would do a training program. And the training program was for managers and chief execs in different ministries to see how they could increase the numbers of women at higher levels in terms of appointments. So when I started the training, all the different people came And I was surprised how mostly men, that how interested they were in the program, how willing they were to look at it from the point of view of changing things within their departments. And they went away setting targets to have women in different levels in the ministries. So for me, it was a very, very heartening to see that there was the people were enthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
So that was my Hamade experience. Very positive for
Yeah.
me.
I mean, when we say Hamade, it's the National Union of Eritrean Women for all our English speakers. Um, your heritage is Indian. How, and I mean, you've been working in a different part of the world. How important is the empowerment of women, and compare that to your experience of Eritrea?
Okay, women, I found generally women were very strong in in themselves, very confident in their history as well as their social standing in the community. So, and which was wonderful to see the very proud women. Wherever you went, you didn't see them cowed down or anything. They walked in a way that they owned the country, which was wonderful to see that sort of confidence of women. What I also, because I had my friend Miriam was already there in the country, she helped me to travel around a bit. And so we went to different parts of the country and again saw sort of slightly away from Asmara, rural community, the sort of touristy places and so on. And meeting women around there also confirmed my belief that women in Eritrea, given a chance, could do anything that was required of them. So I found that again sort of they were. I met some businesswomen, for example. They were running restaurants for all on their own. They had set it up. They had been running it for years and years. So there was the entrepreneurship, and there were doctors. I visited some hospitals, for example, and met doctors who were sort of again in every sense up to date in their knowledge, their understanding of issues around social issues as well as health issues, of course. What also impressed me a lot was the way the hospitals were run. They were managed so amazingly. Everywhere you went, it was clean. Everywhere was systematic, organized, and I really found that, how can I put it? Uh, Very impressive, basically, because it's not one of the richest country in the world, yet it maintained everything beautifully. Whatever it had was done well. That's the important point. So, like moving about in the city like Asmara, everywhere cleanliness, beautiful places, parks, and people gentle, kind, very hospitable. And then, of course, there was also other side of life where you could enjoy yourself, go to restaurants, go to cafes. Everything was sort of, how can I put it? Very welcoming and quite lively.
Yeah. I mean, you've been traveling in a different zones or different region of Eritrea. The peaceful or the welcoming of the people is one side, but let me be a little bit more specific. What's important to you, and why is gender empowerment important? Because we are talking during the Women's Day, International Women's Day. So, what's your take on that?
Well, it's for me, it's a simple equation. Women are more than half the population, most of the countries. They have a lot to contribute, and they are intelligent, they are skilled, they are talented, and in every sphere they can contribute to a country and help the country to grow stronger and develop better, because you're having not half the population contributing, but the total population contributing to a nation's welfare and development and growth. So for me, gender issue is very simple in that sense. That why are we wasting, if anywhere in the world, if that's happening, why are we wasting that talent away, that potential, that energy? Why should we waste it?
Well, since we are here in London, and I'm sure that you've been following in the last years, there's a lot of media has been written about Eritrean women, and there was some misinformed or it was given the misinterpretations about the women of Eritrea. Um, how important is to talk about the Eritrean women? Because we're talking about 30% of Eritrean women were part of the EPLF during the struggle for independence. What do you think that international community know much about the Eritrean women? What's your observation? What's your take on that?
In fact, there is much misinformation about Eritrea as a whole. So, media here, uh, and I don't know in other parts of the world, but media here definitely maligns Eritrea quite a lot. So, therefore, the women's issues don't even arise because they're so busy putting down the country that they don't even look at the positive of, for example, the 33% that I talk about on the front line is the only country that had women on the front line in those numbers. Other countries also have women who participate in the military and so on, but not in this sort of numbers on the front line. But British media never will talk about that
Why do you
because
think?
it's so busy, as you say, doing misinformation rather than information. So I could sort of say when I was there, and the peacefulness and the people going about their business, you never felt threatened. I could be out alone in the evening,
Yeah,
and I never felt unsafe.
yeah.
So, but if I said the same to another neighboring country within Africa, they talk about democracy there, but if you look at the way life is there, poor are absolutely poor. And in Eritrea, I didn't see that because I also know, for example, that Eritrean government subsidized food for not so well off. And it was just nice to see that poverty wasn't huge in the sense of some other countries around in Africa. Even in Britain, there's serious poverty, as we know. So for me, it was very interesting experience.
Very good. Um, what does International Women's Day mean to you, Miridu?
International Women's Day for me is a reminder of all the women through the history who have achieved and contributed to the world in terms of progress, in terms of changes, in terms of bringing next generation into the world and preparing that next generation to deal with the world. So it's, to me, it's a good to remind the world itself that here are the women who need respect, who need to be acknowledged, who need to be given more space to progress even further and help the country progress that way. I did International Women's Day programs. I was working at the community center till last year. I was managing the center. And I ran 3 or 4 years running International Women's Day there. And it was brilliant to see women come, and men as well, come to listen to other women and their achievements. And we did, even women hadn't heard of them. So it's about spreading the knowledge and understanding about the role women have played and can play in the future within any country in the world, anywhere in the world.
I mean, you've been working in a different part of the world. What do you think young women need to be considering? I mean, what's the message to young women?
Right. Young women, I feel, need to look at the heroines of the past and present, because there are many, many, many women around the world, including Eritrea,
Yeah.
who are doing things for the country, for their family, for the neighborhoods, and so on. And sometimes it's small, and sometimes it's very big. And everything does matter. Doesn't matter how small or how big, it matters because it's contributing to the community and to the nation as a whole. So young people need to look at that and learn from that, but then add their own experiences, their own ideas, their own views, and improve. So what I may have done today may not be perfect. My daughter could do it better, and her daughter could do it even better. So that would be my expectation of the younger generation.
Finally, before closing this interview with you, how can men empower women, Miridu?
Right. It's a big question because it's about giving up power a little bit, not completely, but sharing power. Because no matter where we live, in one sense, we like it or we not, men do have more power and control than women do at the moment. If men were prepared to share a little bit more in every which way, uh, in terms of like within house, their home environment, their community, their workplaces, share with women that power and say, yes, I'm here to enable you if you're not. Or if you're able, then I'm going to move back a bit so you can have more space to do something. Uh, that's how I would like to see men. I don't want it to become a competition. I don't think I want to become more equal than a man. I want equality in real sense. I want equality for men as well as women. And as you know, that the equality, but there is inequality between classes as well. So the issue of man woman sometimes gets drowned. For example, a middle class woman may have more power than a working class man. So that is inequality as well. So I would like men who have power to find ways of sharing that power without feeling resentment, without feeling that they're giving up something. They should feel they're actually improving the world or the nation if they really believe in doing that and taking things ahead for the next generation, especially.
Miridu Thanki from London, thank you so much on the occasion of International Women's Day under the theme Eritrean Woman, Pillar of Resilience and Development. Finally, any message to the National Union of Eritrean Women? I give you the last word to you.
Simple message is don't ever give up. Keep going. Keep finding ways of making your mark in the world. But that's it, really. But can I say something before we finish, just about Eritrea?
Of course.
I was there for 3 months, and I loved every minute of it. And one or two things that I loved most was going to the market. So colorful, such artifacts, such food. My God, the food. So I'll never forget that. And I put these things out
I
at the
can
back of
see, I
the
can see
door.
that. Yeah.
All these Eritrea. There's much, much more, but this is just few bits. So
Fantastic.
you can see how much I miss. So I keep it always in front of me.
Fantastic. We hope that the pandemic is over very soon, and we hope to see you very soon. And please pass our greetings to Gordon Peters.
I shall, yes. Thank
Very
you.
good.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much for being with us here on Embassy Media.
Okay.
Thank
Yes, Gordon.
Yes.
Here, hi.
Thank you. Thank you. How are you, Gordon? Nice to see you.
Fine. Nice to see you, and good luck to
Thank you.
everybody at the embassy, and of course for Women's Day.
Thank you. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Yes, very well. Thank you for organizing this because it's so important.
Thank you so much. Happy International Women's Day. Many
Thank
greetings
you.
from here from the Embassy Media. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
My guest speaker from London was Miss Miridu Thanki. Stay safe until our next program, and good night.
تدمرتي فطري كم على الولاد رنقسي خبري عدينا نبلك بزبر خلبسي عدينا نبلك اتمتايسي ما تنكي مرقي وبقدم اتمتايسي مرقاقي حيلنا يونباحلو اتمتايسي حلالا ندخي على بيننا اتمتايسي هاجرنا ومرعات عينينا عدينا نبلك بزبر خدمتي عدينا نبلك